We are here to introduce a new sport to the Bahamas, dragon boat paddling sport. I have been corrected so many times. It's not rowing, it's dragon boat paddling sport. Something new and exciting that's coming to the Bahamas, and we're going to be sharing a lot of details with you all tonight. We have some speakers who are going to share lots of knowledge, and by the time we're finished tonight, we're all going to be ready to sign up for something new and exciting. The Cancer Society of the Bahamas, you're probably wondering, well, what does it have to do with us? And we'll hear more about that later on as well, the link to the Cancer Society and in particular breast cancer survivors. It's something that's supposed to be very therapeutic and just generally good for building camaraderie and emotional attachment and whatnot for cancer survivors. So without, I guess, dragging it out any longer, I would like to probably get started with some of our speakers who can share a lot more of the knowledge on the sport itself, on the event that's upcoming in August in the Bahamas, and just general knowledge about the sport itself. So right now, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Franco Suchong, who's the president of the Pan American Dragon Boat Federation. And he'll be sharing with us on what is dragon boat racing, and we'll see a short video. And so right now I'd like to turn it over to Franco.
Thank you very much, Rochelle. The IDBF is the International Dragon Boat Federation that has, that controls the sport of dragon boating worldwide. The other continents are the Asian Dragon Boat Federation, the European Dragon Boat Federation, African, Oceanus, and us, the Americas. My job is to tell you about start off with telling you about dragon boat racing, and I think it is best. There's a short video that says it all. The start of dragon boating and the IDBF.
Dragon boats are vessels of ancient Chinese boat-making art. They are long and slim sampans, which means 3 planks shaping the hull. Coming with a dragon head, drum and steering oar, they are unique boats. Dragon boat racing is a 2,300 years tradition. In 1976, the first international race takes place in Hong Kong, which is the starting point of the modern era. Other cities across Asia follow now and hold races too. To promote Chinese culture and tourism, in 1980 the Hong Kong Tourist Association sent dragon boats to the Chinese festival in London. Attracted by the people-packed boats, full of ancient traditions, sportsmen pick up the sport, which in the following years spreads over Europe. 1990 sees the foundation of the European Dragon Boat Federation. 1991 gives birth to the International Dragon Boat Federation and the Asia. From then the wheels of global growth start turning. ancient Chinese tradition as exciting modern sport. Dragon boating gets year by year more and more people to sit in one boat. Everybody can do it and enjoy the happy atmospheres of races and festival events. Performances purely depend on fitness levels and mindsets in a team. The International Dragon Boat Federation preserves the tradition and grows the sport of dragon boating, a true sport for all.
Well, as you all can see, the sport is worldwide. There's over 52 countries in the IDBF. In the Pan American region, we have the USA and Canada. The sport there in the USA and Canada are very mature. And the other countries in the Pan American region are Puerto Rico, Panama, Trinidad and Tobago, and recently Brazil and Argentina has joined. And the number 8 position, you know, number 8 is a lucky number in the Chinese in Chinese. So we hope the Bahamas will be our 8th member in the Pan American region. Why it is so popular? This sport is infectious and very exciting. It builds teamwork, camaraderie. No one person is a star in their team. Everyone works together. You can have CEOs, presidents working along floor workers and janitors and drivers. So everyone must do their part. Everyone must paddle in synchronicity and they must hit the water all together. The sport is very deep in Chinese culture. It's over 2,000 years old. Every year in China, there's a holiday for the dragon boat holiday. It's on the fifth day of the 5th month of the lunar calendar. It embraces sport, and for the Bahamas, and in particular, it is useful for the Bahamas, sport tourism. Bahamas is a tourism destination, and that is why it is so important for the Bahamas to introduce this sport. Of course, Mary will talk about the benefits of breast cancer survivors. So without further ado, I just want to say that I'm very proud from the Caribbean people. You could recognize a little Trini accent. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. So I'm very happy to bring one of my Caribbean islands into the Pan American Federation. I'm very happy to work with the Bahamas Chinese Dragon Boat Association, KK Tong and the others, the Ministry of Sport and Ministry of Tourism, the Cancer Society, and more important, the Embassy of the People's Republic of China in the Bahamas. They're the ones who brought the boats down. Without them, we would have no dragon boating. So without further ado, I will just pass on to the other speakers.
Okay, so thank you, Franco. So that's the what. So now we're going to hear from KK Tong, who is the president of the Bahamas Chinese Dragon Boat Association. And she's going to tell us about the first Dragon Boat Festival to take place here in Nassau. She'll tell us the date and hopefully venue and some other information, as well as the sport tourism aspect and the social benefits of this sport that it'll bring to the Bahamas. So over to you, KK.
Thank you, Rochelle. Good evening, everyone. I'm KK Tong, president of the Bahamas Chinese Dragon Boat Association. First, I would like to thank Franco for having been contacting me for over 6 years to encourage the promotion of dragon boat racing to the Bahamas, and having made 2 trips in order to investigate the great potential of the sport here in the Bahamas. I would like to also thank Dr. Christine Chin and Dr. Williamson Shea for connecting our association with the Cancer Society of the Bahamas. I'm so happy to meet on International World Health Day. The Bahamas Chinese Dragon Boat Association is made up of local Chinese Bahamians and permanent residents that had a desire to share our native culture with our fellow Bahamians through the therapeutic sport of dragon boat racing. Dragon boat racing is an ancient Chinese sport that dates over 2,000 years. In the middle of May next month, 8 dragon boats will arrive in Nassau and will be gifted to our association by the Chinese Embassy of the Bahamas. These boats will be used during the races at our first ever Dragon Boat Festival we have planned for August near Goodman's Bay, at Goodman's Bay. They will also be made available for training and for use by those interested in the sport. And also the Bahamas Dragon Boat Federation, which we intend to sponsor the creation of. We'll have traditional Chinese food and popular Bahamian delights. We'll also have live performances such as the Chinese lion dance and Bahamian junk canoe free dance, martial arts performances, and drumming performances by both Bahamian and Chinese artists. It will truly be an exciting cultural exchange. To prepare for the dragon boat races, we'll have professional officials arrive in Nassau to train our local trainers, as well as some of our local teams that have registered for the dragon boat racing at the festival. Teams may learn more about the festival and register on our website at bcdragonboat.com. So I would like to introduce one such professional, which will be on the island to train our trainers, Matt Smith, Vice President of the International and Pan American Dragon Boat Federation. I thank you all for joining, and now I would like to welcome Matt Smith.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much, KK, and congratulations to you and the new Bahamas Chinese Dragon Boat Association. And I say congratulations on behalf of everyone at the IDBF. It's always very exciting for us to have a new member, and we're very happy to be wanting to support you grow this amazing sport in the Bahamas. And I just want to reinforce something. You saw that video at the beginning, and there was a lot of, a lot of intense racing clips. But I can't stress enough that 90% of dragon boat racing is actually more recreational and community-based. And it's so accessible to everyone. One of the sayings we have is, it doesn't matter how big or small or tall or short you are or whatever. As soon as a paddler is in stroke, they're contributing to the team, which just makes it a safe and unintimidating activity. And we get all sorts of paddlers, from elite racers to the breast cancer survivors we're going to hear from tonight, and so many other special interest groups that want to go out and paddle. So just to stress that, and I personally, I'm really looking forward to going down to the Bahamas. My mission is to train the trainers, to help train the instructors who will help deliver this festival, and working with everyone, the different groups like the breast cancer survivors and others who are involved, and bringing everyone together. And making it very fun and very simple. And that's the mission at the beginning, is to make this as fun as possible and as accessible as possible. And then who knows, in a couple of years, we might have a national Bahamas teams at one of our world championships. But it all starts with fun. So that's it. So good luck to you. And I look forward to meeting you in person next month.
Thank you, Matt, and also thank you, KK. So now we're going to hear from Mary Gibson, who's the president of the International Breast Cancer Paddlers Commission. And Mary is going to speak on the benefits of dragon boat paddling to breast cancer survivors. So this is where we tie it all together back to us. So Mary, if you're ready, go ahead, please.
I'd just like to acknowledge what Matt said, and I have two of my board members here, Linda Kuska from Canada and Betty Solly from the USA. And I noticed that the three of us were all nodding in recognition of Matt talking about participation. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about IBCPC and a bit about our story. And at the end of it, there will be another little video. So if you wouldn't mind switching to the next slide, Erin. So why breast cancer and why dragon boats? Well, until recently, and still in many countries, people treated for breast cancer are advised not to do any upper body repetitive exercise for fear of contracting the painful, debilitating condition, lymphedema. In the 1990s, Dr. Don McKenzie, a sports medicine physician at the University of British Columbia, Vancouver, Canada, studied the research and could not find any medical evidence that this condition would occur after treatment. To prove his theory, he invited 24 volunteers who had survived breast cancer to go to the gym for 3 months in preparation for paddling in a dragon boat for another 3 months. Dr. McKenzie chose dragon boating because it is a challenging upper body activity. Paddlers do not have to paddle hard, as Matt said, they just have to paddle together. And to his delight, as well as for the paddlers, no one got lymphedema. These women were fitter than many of them had ever been. They were happier, healthier, and loved the camaraderie of being on a team. The women had taken control of their lives and were excited and determined to promote breast cancer dragon boat paddling around the world. It was the first chapter in what has become an international movement on 6 continents. IBCPC is recognised globally and the leader in support of those diagnosed with breast cancer to gain a healthy lifestyle through participation in dragon boating. Our mantras are exercise is medicine and paddles across the world. Next slide, please. The sport itself has many benefits specific to people treated for breast cancer. Dr. Don McKenzie's observations in 1995 and the recent medical study undertaken in Italy has proven that with adequate dry land training, the paddlers will experience improved cardiovascular system, improved immune system, increase in range of motion, decrease fatigue, rebuild the affected areas, and have a general well-being and happiness. Interestingly, breast cancer dragon boat paddling helps to create greater awareness of this disease, especially as incidents of breast cancer around the world are of growing concern. And we know that you have very high statistics in the Bahamas. In addition, breast cancer paddlers' communities become a visual representation that sends a strong and hopeful message that there is a life after a diagnosis of breast cancer. And most importantly, their presence encourages the local medical community to reach out to these women and men, making the screening process easier and more readily available. Next slide, please. Although dragon boat racing has not been included in lists of more standard complementary therapies for cancer, it clearly fits within definitions provided by leading experts in that area, and that it serves as an adjunct to mainstream cancer care. And I know in Singapore, they have it as a recommendation as post-diagnosis recovery. And it's aimed at enhancing well-being and controlling symptoms of its participants. Not only has physical exercise been shown to contribute to increasing muscle strength and enhancing overall fitness and well-being, it has been shown also to improve overall quality of life and to prolong survival in women who have been diagnosed with breast cancer. Dragon boat paddling has become a rehabilitation therapy for tens of thousands of women and men worldwide who have been diagnosed with breast cancer. The last 4 years of the IBC's mission has seen exceptional growth throughout the world. As at July 2018, we had a membership of 220 teams across 24 countries. The growth and participation in breast cancer paddling has been phenomenal, particularly in these last 2 years, despite there being a pandemic and no water time. We have seen growth to almost 300 teams across 32, and as at this morning, 33 countries when Croatia joined us. So given the population of the world, and as the yet unexplored territories like the Caribbean, we see that this growth is expected to continue as we meet with and talk to more and more breast cancer survivors globally. Next slide, please. So as Matt mentioned, and it's something we always talk about, is participation first and foremost. I will say that many of us do become competitive, and I'm probably guilty of that, as are Betty and Linda, but participation is where we start. The main event where the large international breast cancer paddlers community meets with each other is the IBCPC Participatory Dragon Boat Festival, held more or less every 4 years under the auspices of the International Breast Cancer Paddlers Commission. The festival is an international, non-competitive participatory event for breast cancer paddler teams who engage in dragon boat activities as post-breast cancer diagnosis. The next event will take place in New Zealand in 2023. It was meant to be 2022, but we postponed for a year due to the pandemic. And whilst it is participatory, I can tell you that every single team will tell you where they placed in each of their heats until they get to the final. So that's going to be the 10th to the 16th of April 2023 at the beautiful Mighty River Domain in Cambridge, which is where they held the World Rowing Champs in 2010. If we move on to we'll stay there for a minute. So just looking at the growth over the years, in 2005, there was a celebration of breast cancer paddling held in Vancouver. It was a 10-year celebration with 1,400 participants. In Caloundra in 2007, that's in Australia, there were 1,800 participants. And this is where it was decided to form an international federation, the birth and the discussion about IBCPC. So IBCPC had its first Congress and elections at Peterborough in Canada in 2010 with 2,000 participants. In Sarasota in 2014, 3,000 participants. In Florence, and who wouldn't want to go to Florence, in 2018, there were 4,200 participants. Those numbers do include supporters who also have a race. So you can see that it's been growing and growing phenomenally. We will be live streaming the event in 2023, and we think that with our global reach, we have approximately about 10,000 people that we reach globally through our teams, and we think that with that, there's a potential to reach 1 million people worldwide. So it's a great avenue to tell our story. The last slide, if you wouldn't mind, Erin, is just some quotes from paddlers themselves. And they talk about the feeling of racing, giving it your all, using every ounce of muscle that you could possibly have, the feeling of strength, the camaraderie, getting us all together. You can do it there, as there are 22 people in the boat. You can go anywhere, it's everybody, all working together. So just that's a little bit about IBCPC and who we are and what we do. But I'd like to show you a video. This video was put together for Claudio Schermi to take to Dubai to promote the sport, and he chose to talk about breast cancer paddling. So if you wouldn't mind showing that now, Erin.
lying naked underneath a liquid sky. I had no past as time was moving backwards, just the burning sun reflected in my eyes. Burning sun.
It was interesting to just re-look at that again. You missed the first shot, and it was one of me in tears at the opening ceremony of the festival. It's so emotional when you look out and you see 4,000 people and you think, wow, this is what we've achieved, you know, and bringing these people together globally. Some of the shots were from Florence and some from Sarasota. And I noticed Betty looking to see who she could see. We had 4 male survivors with us in Florence. So that's from me, and I look forward to some questions later on. It's been an awesome journey, I can tell you that, a fabulous adventure since starting in this sport 15 and a half years ago. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Mary. Very interesting, very exciting. And as you all can see, it's for males, females, survivors, non-survivors. So everybody can get in the race some kind of how. So now I think it's our last speaker. We're gonna have Mr. John Boswick, who will kind of tell us what the sport can do for the Bahamas and to tell us how to go about forming our teams to get things going here. Mr. Boswick?
How you doing? I am traveling, forgive me, in Jamaica and around a lot of loud noise, so please forgive me. But I'm very happy to lend my efforts to the establishment and incorporation of the Bahamas Chinese Dragon Boat Association. I've had the absolute pleasure of meeting Franco, and he has made sure that his infectious passion for the sport has been passed on. And I come to the sport with a lot of excitement and interest. Franco has made sure I use the word paddling. Very interested in becoming a paddler. I used to row in university, and I've always felt that such sports are ideally suited for the Bahamas with our nautical tradition and our passion for things rhythmic. So when you look at dragon boating and its beating of a drum and its colorful dragon heads on the boats, I always says it looks like dunking on water to me. And the Minister of Sports, in fact, said the same when we had the pleasure of meeting him last week. In fact, he got quite excited about the potential of the sport in the Bahamas as a regatta sport that could be spread amongst our different island communities, and we could fester competitions. The fact that dragon boating is also therapeutic, and therapeutic in particular towards cancer survivors of all types, in particular breast cancer. Like many of us in the Bahamas, I have the sadness of cancer in my family. My aunt is a breast cancer survivor. My brother-in-law is also a cancer survivor. So cancer has touched my family, I guess, in too many ways. But that there is a therapeutic sport and something, as some of the people have already said, that brings life back to people who might have felt that they were now invalids or inactive or unable to be active, but brings life and excitement and sporting back into such people's lives. It's definitely something that I can lend all the support I can to. So I'm very happy to be a part of it, happy to be a part of this call. As I say, so committed to it that even while traveling, I've been sitting quietly listening to the presentations. And I am more than hopeful. I have the firm intention of ensuring that dragon boating becomes all that it can be in the Bahamas. I've already seen our championship team, so in my mind's eye, so we got to make it a reality. So thank you very much for all the persons who have been a part of it. And I think this is the start of something really good. So thank you again.
Thank you, John, for joining in, particularly in your travel. That kind of concludes our list of speakers for tonight, but we would now open the floor up for any questions that anyone may have at this time for any of our speakers. Feel free. Is there anything in the chat?
I'd like to just hear from the medical fraternity, and I see that John is part of that, because for us, it's really important that is supported by the medical fraternity to encourage the participation. And you know that, and I know that Dr. Chen is part of the healthy lifestyle, so I'd like to understand a little bit more about that in terms of how you see that working in the Bahamas, and I guess the follow on from that in terms of where people are post their treatment, shall we say.
Mary, just for qualification, John here again. I am actually a member of the legal fraternity, and not a medical doctor, but I lend my support here as a member of the legal fraternity towards all of the legal footwork and the incorporations and such things that come along with this. I think Dr. Chin and one or two other doctors are better suited to speak to the medical community support of dragon boating as a therapeutic sport.
Apologies, it said medical on the agenda.
Yes, I saw my
now.
name next to that. Yeah, I saw that and I thought, oh my God, they're gonna think I'm a doctor. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you did a good job anyway, John. Thank you. So I'm
Thank
Christine
you.
Chin. I just want to say that I'm not intimately involved with cancer patients, but my husband is, and he was just the immediate past president of the Cancer Society of the Bahamas. But I was the leader of the healthy lifestyle team of the Bahamas, of the Cancer Society, actually. And what we're trying to promote is healthy living, physical activity, and increased physical activity, and of course, eating properly and eating healthily. So in an effort to decrease cancer, of course, and other chronic diseases. So we have a couple breast cancer survivors, and you've seen the evidence that Mary showed. And we're all gung-ho to start this sport right here in the Bahamas. And we're going to possibly have our first festival in August of this year, and then hopefully push it towards our winter time, which is anywhere from, January to March or April. So we're thinking of doing it in the wintertime so that people from up north could come now and enjoy our warmer weather. But we do see benefits. We have a couple other doctors here, some of them who are survivors of breast cancer themselves. So I'm glad to see them out. And I'm seeing a couple of the Filipino citizens of the Bahamas or residents of the Bahamas. So we welcome them to this webinar as well. And a couple other doctors as well who are not involved in cancer care, but who are, they call themselves the physicians. So they're are young doctors who are trying to get everybody fit in the Bahamas, because we have a high incidence of obesity and we really need to tackle that as well. So anything that is sport or physical activity is endorsed by us by all means. So thank you again for everybody, and Mary and Franco and KK and John for a great webinar. And I hope everybody got some benefit from listening in, and hopefully they could all join in. Thank you very much.
I just wanted to add to that it's feedback. Probably, for a lot of us, and breast cancer is predominantly associated with women. So excuse me if I use the term referring to women, but we have a male ambassador as part of our organisation as well. A delightful Mark O'Connor living in Ireland, and he's really wanting to share that story also. But I think that probably, and coming back to your point, Christine, is that a lot of us would not have participated in any exercise post leaving school, where you're pretty much made to do something, to belong to some sport. And when you leave school and go off to university and then, have families or whatever, sport tends to take a back seat for a long time. And what we find is that people come, that they've either tried dragon boating, you know, in their young years, and then they come back again at about 30. But for breast cancer survivors, a lot of, and predominantly women, will not have participated in any exercise since leaving school, or very little exercise since leaving school. And so we come to this sport thinking, oh, I'm no good, I can't do this, I'm not fit enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm too old. All of those things play out. But what you have is this incredible sameness. We don't ever talk about cancer in our boat, and Betty will probably tell you the same thing. We never talk about it. And I tell people, if you're looking for sympathy, you've come to the wrong place. But if you're needing empathy, you're in exactly the right place, because we're incredibly empathetic and we understand, and we've all been down that same path. And so as we learn and grow and become better paddlers and stronger paddlers, we join together and we have this incredible camaraderie. And the other thing that you'll see with a lot of, and whether it's breast cancer or all cancers, we've got the best gear because people just want to support us. We've got the best uniforms, the best paddles, although Matt might argue that because some of his teams are pretty well turned out as well. But, you know, it's because we are so visibly present that people just want to attach and have a conversation, become engaged. I mean, you guys might want to comment a little bit more about that, but for women, and that's not just breast cancer, this is one of the fastest growing sports in the world, I would say. Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt or Franco, but I think I'm pretty much right on that one.
It's also an easy sport to pick up. So it could be, you know, you don't have to have a special skill, and you just need to practice, really, right? And it's
we think we're elite athletes, you know. we start off struggling to walk down the road, but you know, we think we're elite athletes in our own minds. We are.
But I'm telling everybody just that it doesn't take a special skill to learn this paddling. And so we encourage everybody, not just breast cancer survivors, but anybody with cancer, anybody at all who needs to do anything physically and to get into a team. And so we're actually encouraging or corporations to send in their teams from their, you know, from their president all the way to compete against other, you know, bank against bank, you know, places against other places, and Filipinos against other people. The Filipinos are a very competitive group, so we see them here now, and that's good that we hopefully we could get at least two teams out of the Filipinos. And then we have the physicians as well, and young people in schools, hopefully they could compete as well.
Well, and I think too, to add to your point, and Matt's nodding and Betty, that's how in most countries the sport started, was in the corporate world. It was seen as a way for corporates to get together, to get out of the office or the workplace or whatever, and participate in an exercise. And you know, generally they don't have as long a season as those of us who paddle, not full time, but paddle as a sport. But it's a great team builder for employees, for staff.
Right, I see Dr. Kapuli has her hand up.
Hi, yes, good afternoon or good evening. Thank you, Dr. Chin, for inviting me on this special meeting. Actually, I applaud everyone here who really took this initiative to open this invitation to everyone in the community. I belong to the Filipino community, and at the same time, I'm a public health physician in the Ministry of Health. So my question here is, we have our current president of the Filipino Association, Florida, and some of the officers of the association. So I'm sure they're thinking, you mentioned that Filipinos are very competitive. In essence, yes, because Filipinos love sports. We're not really Olympian in a way, but we always want to play basketball, volleyball every time there's an opportunity. But because of the pandemic, that's not happening right now. So this invitation is very new to our community. It's not really popular at all in our country. It might be starting, but since this invitation is being extended to us, how can our community start preparing for this sports, if ever there will be one in August? Because getting the group for August, at least you have to prepare like your invitation in the beginning that they require the women to prepare their physique before the competition. Will this be a competition in August, or will this be just like a performance, or just like a day of regatta?
KK, you
Hello,
wanna? Or Franco?
I'm sorry, if I may, I'm going to stick my nose in that one. Hello, doctor. It seems that I think Bahamians are like Filipinos. Even if we're playing dominoes for friends, it's going to be a competition, eh? And the first event is this annual event is planned as a festival, but out of the festival should be birthed the Bahamas Dragon Boat Association, which will be a recreational come competitive sporting federation. But even at this festival, we expect that the races that will be going on there will become competitive. And with that, I think maybe Matt or Franco can talk, or Mike or Franco can talk more to it. But we're blessed that he will actually be down to do training. Both of them, in fact, are coming to do training in May after the boats have been donated and received. And with them being on island for 3 days to, I think, a week, we'll start having training and getting teams put together so that the persons who are interested in putting teams up can come and be trained, so that it's not a brand new experience for them in August. And hopefully during that training session, persons who've already expressed interest in becoming local trainers will be trained and certified. And so that training will continue between May and August, so that there can actually be some competitive races. And even those friendly races can be friendly competitive races.
I see. Okay. So for forthcoming events or training that you are planning to set up, how are we going to be informed?
KK has just put out a website, I believe it is today, where she's inviting registration. The boats that are coming down are small boats, which consist of 10 paddlers, a drummer, and a stairs person, and 2 spares. So you just need to get 14 team members on board. And then in the middle of May, I think Matt would be coming down on the 20th of May. Hopefully the boats will be here. And that weekend of May, he'll be training the trainers. So maybe the captains of the team would come, and then they would pass on the knowledge. So I think just stay tuned to the website. I think KK has done a great job in putting out a website, and you just register and find and get team members to join. It's a great festival. The festival, we have different categories of races. We have international. I know at least 2 teams definitely coming to Bahamas. Panama says that they want to send 2 teams. They're just looking at the hotel rates, right? Hopefully they'll get some good hotel rates, and we should have international participation. And when we put it out to USA and Canada, I'm not too sure if you guys can handle so many people who want to come on board, but that's international. Then the Filipino, the group, you would not be international because you're local. You'll fall into the local group. There's a group for breast cancer, and there will be a group for a category for schools. We're trying to, KK and John are trying to see if they could meet with the Minister of Education to allow the school teams to participate. So it's just how you start off. It's by just getting a team together who are interested and being part of the festival. If you have more than 14, we do 2 teams. If you can't have a team, you do a minimum of 10. Okay, so that's how you will start.
Is there an age category or any age, or you have a cut-off age to join? And I know this is exclusive for women. Is that right?
No, sorry, it's not exclusive for women. There's
Okay.
the age category would be the schools between ages of 12 and 17, which is the high school or secondary school. And then the rest it's just open, male or female. I think for the start, we do a mixed teams until the Bahamians get very serious. Then we get open races, all female and mixed categories. And then later on, we can have seniors, which is over 40, senior A, senior B, senior C, and masters. So it just mushrooms into the amount of races that you can have.
Okay.
Recap
Thank
on
you.
that too, Franco. Doctor, there is a breast cancer team in the Philippines called Cebu Pink Paddlers from Minganilla. And also Franco and Matt can, I don't know, maybe comment on the adaptive paddlers team from the Philippines. So these are people who have maybe lost a leg or an arm, or so they're completely disabled in some way. So it could be anything across the spectrum. And just with breast cancer, there is no age limit, unfortunately. And dragon boating, generally the age we say is from 12 upwards. And our oldest paddler at one time was 84. And I sat behind her and I thought, oh, I can beat this old lady. I couldn't keep up with her. She'd been an international cricketer and her fitness was phenomenal. So there is no age limit, and it, there's no discrimination of age in a boat. And I mean, sometimes you'll see some elite paddlers who are obviously much younger than probably most of this group here, and they're going to, hit out some very fast times. But as Franco said, as you get more and more teams, you age categorize them. So senior A, which is 40 plus, senior B, 50 plus, and senior C, 60 plus. Mixed, women's, premier, open, breast cancer, adaptive. The list goes on. The more people you have, the more teams you can form. So there's no discrimination. So and from my own experience, I'm in Christchurch, New Zealand, and after the earthquakes, we had a lot of Filipinos come here to work to help with the rebuild. They've stayed. I think there were about 6,000 that came. They've stayed, and they're now in dragon boat teams, and they're very competitive. I can tell you, So they seem to adapt really quickly to the sport because of that natural rhythm and that ability to integrate beautifully into teams.
Thank you.
I see Catherine D'Souza has a hand up. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Catherine D'Souza. I'm a physiatrist, which is a doctor of physical medicine and rehabilitation. So I do cancer rehabilitation as well. I am a rower. I'm the vice president of the Nassau Rowing Club. And I just have a few questions. I'm not that familiar with dragon boat racing, and I missed the beginning of the meeting, so sorry if you addressed these earlier. But is this an event that is this a sport that's normally done in the ocean? Or is this more of a lake? Because every time I've seen dragon boat, it's been sort of a lake event. I'm sorry?
I'll just quickly answer. Here in New Zealand, we compete on rivers, lakes, and the ocean. Our oceans are not as forgiving as some others, so we need to be careful about when we do that. But we have teams in 3 locations that are in open water on the harbour. So in that situation, we'd probably put a safety boat out with them. But when we're on a river or a lake, we don't, because we're very close to land. So that's our regulations. And we also, and again, it's different across every country, we make it compulsory to wear a life jacket, whereas many countries don't. So those are the things, I guess, you'd have to look at what your conditions are like. But Franco assures me it's calm. I was in Brazil. We took an outreach clinic there. We had, a number of experienced helms, and I just knew that the boat I was in would tip, and it did. and there were people on board who couldn't swim, and they were as calm as anything. And they said, because we know we're beside you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a big responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
But they just felt really, they didn't feel any hesitation. They just wanted to stay with the boat, and back we just pushed the boat back to shore. So again, you know, I always say you need to look at the conditions.
Mm-hmm. Right. I forgot to mention that I'm also a breast cancer survivor of 9 years.
Well done. Thank you.
Yeah. The other question I have, is there a requirement to be a swimmer? I know you're wearing a life jacket. We don't wear life jackets in rowing, but you know, we have a requirement that you need to at least have some fundamental swimming skills.
Yeah, so again, it probably varies country to country. We say that you should be able to swim 50 meters, or you need to make sure you have your life jacket on. You know, if you can't, and there's a person in our team who's not a confident swimmer. And when we've gone to international competitions, which I think Franco's probably going to comment on, you don't have to wear life jackets, but she always does. So that's I guess, the trade-off.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine, to answer your first question too, Mary answered most of it. We looked at Lake Cunningham. Cunningham is perfect for dragon boating. The water is flat. There's no current,
Mm-hmm.
but it's difficult to throw a festival there. You know, there's no spectator value. So we turn our eyes to Goodman's Bay. And I've been to all the bays in Nassau, and I think Goodman's Bay is perfect. And the water is very, very flat there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. To answer your question on the PFDs or the life jackets, I think for the first festival, it will be a requirement that everyone wears life jackets. That is for the safety and for the for insurance, the indemnity that we would have. I think as dragon boating evolve, then you'll find some teams, they would want, you know, this life jacket or PFD. PFD means personal flotation device, is a bit too cumbersome. And then the federation themselves would have its own rules and develop its own rules and say, look, if you don't want to wear PFD, well, then you must be able to swim 100 meters with clothes on, just to make sure that everyone is. I think the main thing is safety for all the paddlers, and that would be the main concern.
Right. In rowing, if you come out of your boat, if you capsize, you can get in the boat in the water. Is that something that's possible in a dragon boat? So I heard Mary mention that she had to pull the boat back into the land.
Yes, you can, but I think it could be challenging. So what we normally do is when the boat capsizes, we tell everyone just to hold on to the boat because the boat would not sink.
Right.
And we just pull them to shore.
Okay.
Or alternatively, like when we were in, I've seen quite a few capsizes, and I've been in 3. And they're actually, dare I say it, quite good fun, because you kind of feel exhilarated when you're in the water. It's a funny thing to happen. But quite often the safety boat will take people to shore if they're feeling, you know, a little bit anxious.
Right.
But most people just want to help swim the boat to shore, and they're really easy to just push in once you.
Great.
I just want to add, for example, the races that we having is, if it's in China, they'll do it in 49 seconds. But normal teams will make like a minute and a half. So if you capsize, already out of this, so you might as well go into shore.
Okay. That's the standard distance for races?
Races can be, usually it's 200 meters, then 500 meters, and then we go on to 1,000, 2,000, and 5,000.
Okay.
And I can tell you, Catherine, that as breast cancer survivors, we used to be referred to as the sick old ladies, and it's one of my most hated sayings, and would probably get physically violent with any, not really, but you know, I really despise that because that's not what we are. And when we introduced in New Zealand, because I'm in the national body here also, when we introduced 2K racing, everyone said, oh, the breast cancer teams won't be able to do that. Well, did we protest? And, you know, we went out there and we actually went out when some women's crews didn't go out and some premier crews didn't go out because it was an unknown for us. 2 kilometres was a long way after, you know, 500 metres. And I can tell you it's my most favourite race. It's the one I love the most because you get in this cycle of adrenaline, you know, and on that third leg, you're thinking, oh God, will I ever get there? And then suddenly you turn the corner and you're like, whoa, off we go home. It's very exciting once you know, get into that rhythm. As you know, you'll know as being a rower that you just kind of get that cadence going and you just want to keep heading out there.
Thank you, everyone.
I will just like to recognize Kathleen O'Keefe, Michelle O'Keefe, sorry, Michelle O'Keefe. Michelle O'Keefe is from AIDS Cancer Support. Mary, she is the one spearheading the breast cancer survivors initiative in Trinidad and Tobago. So she's here listening in, and I could see the excitement, and she wants to get started even, you know, even before Bahamas.
Oh, well, look at, you know, I mean, the plan is that we will come down myself, and will come down from the US and 2 others. And we really want to run this outreach clinic in both Trinidad and Tobago and the Bahamas, if possible, to happen. We will be, because we just see this is the way to share, you know, to share that knowledge, to share the story, to get people engaged and to have them come along and join us. You know, for myself personally, I only got involved in this because I was mentoring somebody who was in stage 4. And when she passed away, I went to her funeral and there were these people wearing pink boas. And I thought, who are these silly women with all these pink boas? Well, someone said they're the dragon boaters. And I thought, oh God, I can wear that medal. I can belong to that. So I went and had a conversation. And it was actually 7 years after my diagnosis because I didn't want to have anything to do with anyone who'd had cancer. And, you know, so I went along and I joined them and I thought I might be there for 6 months. And in that first 6 months, we actually had a national competition. And being a competitive person, I was hooked. And here I am 15 and a half years later. So, you know, you just don't know where it will lead you. And, you know, I can tell you, we've lost a lot of people along the way. You know, they've passed away. We've actually got a whole boat of angels. We've got 24 angels with us, but they're equally as much a part of the journey as we are today.
Anyone else have any other questions?
Hi all, I am just saying, because Franco, I just want to say a pleasant good evening to everyone. And I am Michelle O'Keefe. I'm happy to be here tonight with you all. And yes, Franco, you know how excited I am. All right. And Mary, we are looking forward to having you in Trinidad. We are going to make it happen, okay? Catherine, congratulations. I am a 22-year breast cancer survivor myself. All right. So it's wonderful and awesome to be here with everyone tonight. Looking forward to coming to the Bahamas too.
Wow, and we're looking forward to welcoming you.
Thank you.
Rochelle, there's a question in the chat from Grand Bahama. They're asking how they could support or participate.
So just a minute, let me get the question up.
How can the Grand Bahama Cancer Society support / participate? this info would be relayed to our group.
Right. But I'm not sure myself. Because in terms of he wanted to participate and train on another island, can somebody tell me how that would work? Franco or KK or Matt?
I think that I think for the limited time that we are in Nassau, I guess the guys, the people from the Grand Bahama would have to come to Nassau for training. But it is hoped that the Dragon Boat Federation, the Bahamas Dragon Boat Federation, the sporting organization that will be born after this festival, would consist and reach out to all 700 islands in the Bahamas. I never knew there were 700 islands in the Bahamas, but this is where they're going, and maybe we would have different islands have their own dragon boat clubs or associations that would join into the federation. So for the time being, for this festival, I think we just have to, if you guys could come to Nassau for the training and participating.
So when we met with the Minister of Sports, Youth and Culture last week, he was very enthusiastic about this dragon boat regattas. And he was saying that we should even get Bahamians to make the boats as well, because they're boat makers, one. And two, we should have a race or regatta in all the bigger islands, like we do for all the other sailing regattas. So he's quite excited to extend this way beyond New Providence and Nassau. So that's really good. And we have his support, by the way.
Well, that's good news. Hopefully that's half the battle then.
Yes.
Yes, but it would really be good to see it happening in all the other islands as well. Like the same way we have regattas, different holidays, seasons in various islands. So it would be good if we could incorporate this in much the same way. So.
Right, and if people from the islands want to participate or practice, they could practice in canoes or bigger boats in the meantime. Until they could come up to Nassau and train with us.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah, I guess maybe once you kind of harness what the skill is that's required, then I guess you can do makeshift kind of things in the interim.
Do you have I don't know what you call them. We call them waka, outrigger, OC1s. That's a really good place to start honing that paddling technique. In fact, they are probably better paddlers than we are, but because it's a very individual learned skill in an OC. What do you call them? OC1s or outriggers? I'm not sure. Yeah, so it's a canoe with a stabilizer out to the side. That's a really, really good boat to learn in. And I know that, what kind of boats are you bringing in, KK? Are they Champion or Peishing?
They're the smaller boats.
But are they from Champion?
Yeah, we recommended that we had Champion boats, but go ahead, Franco.
We recommended Champion or Peishing, but the embassy have its regulations and procurement procedures. So all we know, they are IDBF approved boats that are coming in.
The reason I asked is because Champion are making some OC1s, and one of my representatives to China, Beirong, is actually up there at the moment checking it out. So I was thinking, you could sneak one into the container and bring it down.
Champion. Well, for the interest of everyone, in 2019. We had the Pan American Championships in Trinidad and Tobago, and the venue for that event was at Pigeon Point. Now, and Pigeon Point, they call it Windy Hole, and there's a reason why they call it Windy Hole. So the water is quite rough there, and Champion made a special boat for us, and our president or Matt was there. In fact, Matt assisted in designing that boat. So when you stand up on one side of the gunnel, that boat would not capsize. Mary, can you imagine that? It's very good. But I don't think that we have those waters in Goodman's Bay, and I think we should be okay once it's an IDBF approved boat. What I would also like to add, if you cannot come to Nassau, if you go to YouTube, you can there's loads and loads and lots of information on how to paddle and their techniques that very simple technique on how to paddle, and it's simple once you get into it. The trick, the art is, the skill is to hit everyone paddle synchronized all at the same time. So it takes a lot of practice, but it's very easy.
That's exactly right, Franco. And I mean, we might all think we're rock stars in the boat, but we're not, because we've all got to be paddling together. Because I mean, you know, I'm in what they call the powerhouse because I'm tall and I'm bigger and stronger, whereas someone who's smaller will be at the front or the back. And you know, so there are places for everybody in the boat. Doesn't matter what size you are, but you've all got to be doing the same thing. Otherwise, you're not going to project that boat or propel that boat forward. And that's what it comes down to more than anything. You could be a rock star in your own head, but you know, you need to work together. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
So we're going to have our social media page up and running.
We lost them. We got disconnected.
I think we lost her right in the middle of that. Wow. Hopefully she'll log back in right away.
I think social, KK wanted to say that they're launching their social media on the festival. They have their website, they'll have a Facebook. So there'll be a lot of information that will be coming forward.
Yes, and we will share that information on our website, but I know she did give me one contact is info@bcdragonboat.com. That's info@bcdragonboat.com. And I guess I don't have the website because at the time when she gave me this information, the website was still under construction. But we will post as much information through our sources and get the word out as well through flyers and various media that we have available to us. So those people who have access to our information will also be able to find it there, and we'll spread the information as more deadlines and timelines come up, we will blast those out as well through our media sources.
No, that was just me clicking in, and I was just saying that I see Dr. Chen has already posted the email into the chat group.
Yes.
And I was trying to post into the chat room the web address, and I will, but I've messed it up. But I will put that in the chat room as we hang up as well.
Okay, do you know what it is?
I can tell you, yes, surely.
Yes, you can tell us what it is in the meantime.
Surely, www.bcdragonboat, all is one word, .com.
www.bcdragonboat.com, and for email, info@bcdragonboat.com.
Yes.
So thank you very much for that. And unless anyone else has anything else for tonight, we can kind of, I guess, call it, we'll just be temporarily. We'll be back, I guess, at another point in time, or we'll have more information posted for everybody. And also, I guess if anyone is interested, they can also reach out through our website as well. And we'll try to channel the information through to the Dragon Boat
one more
site
thing
as
in
well.
there before you hang up. Could we encourage everybody who is on the call to look at the fact that the call was recorded, I guess, on the YouTube challenge. And I want to see if we can get everybody encouraged to share the recording or the link to the YouTube with all their friends and associates. So those who weren't able to be on this tonight can sit at their own leisure and watch what I think has been an incredible infomercial come Zoom conference.
Yes, agreed.
I just want to say thank you for the invitation. Franco and I have been talking for a number of years about having dragon boating and breast cancer dragon boating in the Caribbean. We chat about it every time we meet, and so finally, and we meet globally. So to now finally have this opportunity has been wonderful. So I want to thank you very, very much on behalf of IBCPC, but especially myself. I love sharing this story, and I love meeting people and just seeing how they change when they become involved in the sport, regardless of whether you're a cancer survivor or not. It's really wonderful. So thank you again for that opportunity.
Yes, thank you actually to all of our speakers and presenters tonight. Lots of wonderful information shared there, and hopefully this is the beginning of something that's going to be very big and great and beneficial to the people participating, and also something great for our country, something new, something exciting. So we are looking forward to that, and we'll say here, stay tuned, because there's a lot more to come.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all you Bahamians. I just love being in Nassau. I love being in Bahamas, and your conchs. I can't get enough of it.
That's what we like to hear. Yes, we have lots of great treats for all of you who are coming from abroad. So there's so much to experience. It's going to be a great cultural exchange. So we look forward to seeing everybody. So come one and all and bring all your friends and your family. And meanwhile, us in the Bahamas, we got to get our act together and get our teams up and running and motivated and trained, because we gotta win. We're going to be competitive like the Filipinos, the Trinidadians, the Jamaicans, like everybody else. So looking forward to that. And we'll just say good night and thank you all for participating. And if everyone can bring one more person on or share this with one other person, we'll be well on our way. So thank you all and good night.